You hear the name Thomas Markle and expect another quiet, weary interview. Instead, he arrives with a headline that feels like a ticking clock. From his home in Rosarito, Mexico, Meghan Markle's father doesn't just reminisce. He drops a revelation. He points to a forgotten page in a 1997 issue of 17 magazine that lists his daughter as 21 years old. Do the math, and it unravels everything you've been told. Meghan's official birth year is not. If that magazine page is accurate, she wasn't a fresh-faced 15 when it was printed. She was already in her 20s. That's a 6-year gap, big enough to rewrite her entire public timeline. You can almost feel the tension in the air. Royal watchers and Hollywood insiders know that a simple number can carry enormous weight. Birth certificates, wedding documents, and palace press briefings are supposed to be immovable facts. Yet here is a printed clue, buried on page 90 of an old teen magazine, threatening to topple the carefully polished image of the Duchess of Sussex. Thomas doesn't shout or speculate wildly. He simply points to the evidence and asks the world to look closer. Now you're left wondering, if a single archived page can spark this much doubt, what else in Meghan's story might bend under scrutiny? The stage is set for a deeper investigation, one that could shake not only Meghan's narrative, but the credibility of the royal family itself. Flip to page 90 of that March 1997 17 magazine, and the contradiction stares back like ink carved in stone. There, in a small filler line, Meghan Markle is described as 21 years old. No screenshots, no rumor mill, a printed magazine, preserved in public archives. If she were truly born in 1981 as the official record claims, she would have been just 15 at the time, not 21. That 6-year gap isn't a rounding error, it's a timeline fracture. This single page has become the heartbeat of an online investigation. Fans scour libraries and digital archives, posting high-resolution scans across Reddit threads and TikTok compilations. Royal commentators weigh in, pointing out how every palace biography, every press briefing, every official record rests on the assumption that Meghan's age is beyond question. Yet this old teen magazine, a source nobody expected, has ignited a cultural wildfire. For Hollywood insiders, the clue feels familiar. Casting agents have long admitted that shaving years off an actor's age is a quiet, accepted tactic to land younger roles. But Meghan isn't just a former actress anymore. She's a member of the most scrutinized family on earth. And when one forgotten magazine entry challenges the monarchy's polished narrative, it's not just a curiosity, it's a direct shot at the credibility of an institution that prides itself on precision. Now the question grows louder. If the palace can't guard something as basic as a birth year, what other details of its carefully managed image might be open to revision? Attention shifts to Northwestern University, where Meghan officially graduated in 2003 with a double major in theatre and international studies. On paper, she would have been a bright 22-year-old, perfectly aligned with the 1981 birth year. But photos from her time on campus tell a murkier story. In one salsa club snapshot, Meghan stands among classmates who are now in their mid-50s. Alumni records place many of them in the early 1970s birth range, which would make them nearly a decade older than her publicly stated age at the time. That detail has become the next puzzle piece for online investigators. Were these simply older students sharing elective classes, or was Meghan closer in age to them than her official biography suggests? Commentators note that in Hollywood, this kind of quiet age adjustment isn't rare. A few missing years can mean the difference between auditioning for ingenue roles or being pushed toward maternal parts. But this isn't just a Hollywood resume tweak. It's a potential crack in a royal timeline that millions around the world have accepted as fact. As the photos circulate across Reddit threads and TikTok feeds, the question intensifies. If the Northwestern years don't line up neatly with her official birth year, then the 17 magazine clue isn't just an isolated misprint. It begins to look like part of a broader pattern, a pattern suggesting Meghan's public age may have been curated long before she set foot in Windsor. The trail of inconsistencies doesn't stop at old magazines or college photos. It reaches directly into the heart of the monarchy itself. Just weeks after Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor's birth, palace officials quietly amended his birth certificate. Meghan's full name, Rachel Meghan, disappeared, leaving only her royal title, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. At the time, aides brushed it off as a matter of consistency, but for many observers it felt like a flashing warning light. If a royal birth record, one of the most formal documents in Britain, can be altered without public explanation, what does that say about the reliability of other official paperwork tied to Meghan's life? Commentators point out that royal documents are supposed to be permanent fixtures of history, the kind that future generations can trust without question. Yet this change fed the idea that timelines and identities inside the palace are more flexible than the public has been led to believe. For investigators already focused on that 17 magazine page, the amendment looked less like a harmless correction and more like confirmation that even legal records can be shaped to fit an image. Online, the discovery became ammunition. Threads and videos speculated that if the palace could alter Archie's certificate so easily, it might also be willing to obscure something as basic as Meghan's birth year. Supporters countered that the change meant nothing beyond protocol. But for skeptics, the message was clear. When a family built on tradition and exact record-keeping shows a willingness to rewrite details after the fact, the entire narrative of Meghan's age and the credibility of the monarchy itself starts to feel negotiable. What began as a niche curiosity has now exploded into a full-blown internet investigation. Reddit threads track every new scrap of evidence, from archived magazine scans to alumni rosters. TikTok creators splice side-by-side timelines, comparing Meghan's reported milestones with her public appearances and old photos. Memes circulate, claiming she graduated high school twice, while viral posts rack up millions of views, asking the blunt question, how old is Meghan Markle really? The momentum feeds on itself. Each fresh discovery, whether it's a forgotten event program or a yearbook photo, sparks more speculation and sharper theories. Commentators liken it to a true crime hunt, except the mystery isn't a missing person, it's a missing 6 years. The more the palace stays silent, the more convinced the online crowd becomes that something is being hidden. This digital storm matters because public opinion now shapes royal narratives as much as official press releases. In an era where screenshots and archived links can outlive any statement, a single unaddressed inconsistency can dominate headlines for weeks. And with Thomas Markle repeating that the numbers don't add up, every meme, every thread, every viral clip deepens the pressure, not just on Meghan, but on the entire royal institution that vouched for her story. Through every headline and viral post, Meghan Markle has maintained a striking silence. No interviews, no clarifications, not even a brief statement from her representatives. To supporters, that restraint looks strategic. Why dignify speculation when the official record already lists her 1981 birth year? They argue that engaging with the rumors would only feed them, giving fringe theories more visibility than they deserve. Critics, however, read the quiet differently. To them, each day without a response feels like confirmation that there is something worth hiding. Opinion columns frame her silence as avoidance, suggesting she is letting the conversation run out the clock rather than risk contradiction. Even neutral royal commentators admit that the lack of any denial allows the story to grow unchecked. And in the court of public opinion, absence can feel like guilt. This is where the issue stretches far beyond a single birth date. The monarchy's power rests on the perception of control. Every speech, every photograph, every record carefully curated. When Meghan remains silent, she doesn't just protect her privacy, she leaves a vacuum that erodes that sense of control. Each unanswered question about her age morphs into a question about the palace itself. If they can't or won't address a simple timeline dispute, what else might they be unwilling to confront? That uneasy gap between speculation and certainty is now a larger threat than any one magazine page could ever be. By now, the debate over Meghan Markle's age is no longer a simple numbers game. It's a stress test for the monarchy's image itself. What began as one overlooked line in a 1997 17 magazine has snowballed into a worldwide conversation about credibility. If a basic fact like a birth year can inspire this level of doubt, critics argue, how many other official truths inside the royal walls might bend when image demands it? For the institution, That question is dangerous. The crown survives on public trust that royal records are exact, that biographies are accurate, that the family's history is beyond manipulation. Each viral thread or late-night debate chips away at that foundation. Thomas Markle's interviews, Northwestern photos, and the quietly altered birth certificate now feel like more than isolated curiosities. They're symbols of a narrative that might have been curated from the start. And Meghan, she remains silent, letting the speculation echo. Supporters call it dignity, critics call it strategy, but the effect is the same. Her life story has become a riddle that the palace cannot or will not solve. Whether the 17-page is a fluke or a revelation, the damage is already done. A single unanswered question has cast a shadow over an entire monarchy. As long as that shadow lingers, the mystery of Meghan Markle's true age and the royal family's grip on its own legend may never fully fade.